All right, so let's solve and graph the solution set to that inequality. What's the first thing we have to do?
Get it all on one side.
Good, get 0 on one side. So what are we going to move?
Back to 1 over.
We're going to move the 1 over. Gentlemen, are y'all listening to me? All right, so I got 2x over x
Plus 1.
minus 1 is greater than or equal to 0. Now, they weren't so nice to us this time because we can't do anything until we just have one fraction on this side. So we're going to have to actually combine these two. So how do you, I'm going to put that 1 as a whole number, so I'm going to put it over 1. And how do you subtract fractions?
Greatest common denominator.
Least common denominator. How do we find the least common denominator?
You multiply everything by the bottom.
You multiply by the denominators. So to get rid of that fraction, remember we did this at the beginning of last semester? So to get rid of that first fraction, we'd multiply by x plus 1. And to get rid of the second fraction, we'd multiply by 1. So we're going to multiply them both by x plus 1 times 1. Now, because we're combining them, we're going to put that over what we're multiplying by.
Ow.
So I do this, my x plus 1's cancel, and so I have 1 times 2x minus, here my 1's cancel, so I have 1 times x plus 1, and it's greater than or equal to 0. So we combine, so it's 1 times 2x.
2x.
And then here we got to distribute that negative 1, right? So minus x minus 1 over, and I'm going to distribute that 1 on bottom. Now what can we do?
We can solve
How?
like we did the other one.
Combine like terms.
Oh, yeah.
So what's 2x minus x? What did I forget on the previous step there?
I don't know.
I didn't bring down my greater than or equal to 0.
Okay, wow.
All right, so x minus 1 over x plus 1 is greater than or equal to 0. So now I've got it simplified. And so now I need to do what?
Bracket.
This is where we set it equal to 0, right?
It is.
So we know that x minus 1 over x plus 1 equals 0. Except for this has a numerator and a denominator, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So we're going to set them each equal to 0.
X minus 1.
Okay, so now tell me, this 1 came from what, the numerator or the denominator? The numerator. So is it going to have a parentheses or a bracket?
Bracket.
Now look at your inequality. It has a equal to on it, right? And since it's from the numerator, it means it's going to have a bracket. All right, so the x equals 1 came from the numerator, so we're going to use a bracket. And the x plus 1 came from the denominator, so for its answer, we're going to use the parentheses. So we set up our number lines, so we can see our intervals, and we're setting up our interval table.
You said plus 1 on the denominator. It's negative 1.
Okay, yeah, all right, so the denominator is equal 0, was x plus 1 equals 0, but we got the negative 1, which is where we're going to use the parenthesis. Sorry if I said that wrong. All right, so now we got our number lines, so we can see our intervals. So I can see it's going to go from negative infinity to negative 1. Am I going to use a parenthesis or bracket at the negative 1?
No.
Parenthesis. So then I go from negative 1 to positive 1. At positive 1, do I use a parenthesis or bracket? All right, you said I'm using a bracket at the 1. So and 1 goes to infinity.
Oh, no.
All right, so let's pick some x values in those intervals. What's a number from negative infinity to negative 1? 0 is not in that interval. Negative 2. What about negative 1 to positive 1? 0. What about 1 to infinity? 2. Don't pick the what's on the interval itself, okay? All right, so if you know the x value, how do you find the y value? Plug it in. So remember, our y is equal to, we had it when we reduced it there, x minus 1 over x plus 1. So when you plug in x is negative 2, what do you get?
Negative 3 over negative 1.
Which reduces to?
3.
Got a positive 3. I'm out of room there, so I'm going to come up here to the top. So I'm going to plug in 0. So negative 1 over positive 1, which is negative 1, which is negative. And then plug in positive 2. Good, 1 over 3, which is positive. Now go back to where you had that simplified inequality. Greater than, right? What kind of numbers are greater than? Positive. So go look in your table in the sign column, and we're looking for positive numbers. Do we have any?
Yes.
Yeah, positive signs. We got a positive there and a positive here. So there's my two solutions. So negative infinity to negative 1 with a parenthesis, union 1 with a bracket to infinity with a parenthesis, and then just shade those on your number line. There's my number line, and there's my interval. Those are my two solutions that it's after.